Around the final corner comes Beaches to start this race as everyone lines up 2 by 2. Here we go. When will the green flags drop? There we go. And the run to turn 1 is on its way. Sauna and the Bentley gets a really good start. He's alongside and maybe ahead of Beaches. A great run here. Let's see the braking zone into turn 1. Oh, there's a collision further back and Beaches has been taken out. And he takes Sauna with him. Oh my word. And it's P1 and P2 are out before we even get to turn 1. Absolute incredible scenes here as Beaches and Sauna both get taken out before they can even get to the first corner. And McLaren goes off further down there, but absolutely incredible. I think we had 2 separate incidents, one further back and then one involving P1 and P2. Sauna gets a decent run here on Beaches, and it's strange, P1 and P2 still battling, but no longer for first place, but for P20 something much further back. And Sauna gets really close to the back of the McLaren and somehow doesn't touch him. There's Cheng in the McLaren going right around the outside. Great move. Pulls that off brilliantly. And now the run into the hairpin. Sauna gets alongside here. He's got the inside line. Beaches goes late on the brakes, goes a bit deep. I think Sauna's pulled this move off. Brilliant overtake there. Meanwhile, Cheng then takes another position up as these guys that were at the front are battling their way back through the field. Still a long way to go. They can make their way back up. So yeah, we're looking on Pashov here, starting in P9. I think this was the contact that happened a bit further back. Let's find out what happened. Initially a good start by the Porsche. Almost a collision further back between the Lamborghini and the McLaren there. And then let's see what happened here. Oh, Pashov just loses it under braking and takes 2 cars with him, and then further up Hamling hits the McLaren, who then unfortunately spins into the path of the Bentley. And yeah, so 2 separate incidents, and unfortunately 5 cars taken out because of these 2 incidents. Everyone else seems to get through pretty cleanly. So further on through the lap here, at the end of lap 1, looking down on the battle for P12 here between Dorsus, Howe and Nordell. Nordell down the inside of Howe, and he pulled that move off. Meanwhile, one of the Astons dives into the pits for an early pit stop, a huge undercut. Everyone's a bit too far back to make any moves into turn 1 here, but Howe super late on the brakes, and somehow Nordell avoids that, and then further back, a big collision further back. I think we're going to have to check what happened there. One dive bomb just escaped a collision, but further back we'll have to have a look to see what happened. Fantozzi goes down the inside of Nordell here. I don't know if Nordell made a mistake, we just missed that, but Fantozzi down the inside and gets up to P12. So here on board with Bird, who was in P20, and it looked like to me just a big miss of the braking zone. Let's see what happened. Oh yeah, just completely misses the braking zone, and that's a big hit. Unfortunately, Tan being the one that was in the way there, a big hit for both cars, and collision there between Tan and the Ferrari as well. But surely quite a bit of damage done to the Bentley and the Mercedes in that hit. Yeah, you can see the Bentley understeering into that corner there, just so much damage on the front side, and I think that Mercedes will have damage on the right hand side as well after that huge collision. And we'll look further up at a collision between Watson and someone else. Let's have a look what happened there. So a big slide by the Bentley coming out of that corner. Let's see, so further up, Letkeman almost goes into the back of the Lamborghini, just manages to avoid it. And then Watson gets a great run here, and he just punts him and spins him round, and unfortunately a bit of a pile up going on there. Dorsius has to cut across the grass and gets back onto the track. Luckily Watson seems to have better traction since he was on the tarmac. Side by side going into the hairpin. Dorsius understeers. Oh, they touch, and somehow the Audi almost loses it, and somehow Dorsius doesn't spin. Pretty impressive that he managed to hold that as they touch going into the hairpin there. Dorsius now though with a big train behind him due to that touch with the Bentley. Does he manage to hold on here? A big slide coming out of that corner there again. Loss of grip. Tyres are cold. Seems to hold off Fantozzi for now, but Nordell is right there as well, trying to capitalise on anything going into the chicane. I don't think there's a move going on into the chicane. Quite a hard place to overtake. Dorsius goes deep though. Fantozzi sees his opportunity down the inside. Nordell trying to follow him through. Can both cars get through down the inside here? Dorsius seems to try to hang around the outside. Fantozzi gets through. Nordell doesn't quite, but Dorsius actually gets a really good exit here. And I think he's actually might get Fantozzi back into turn 1 here. Who's going to be the bravest? Dorsius on the inside. He's braver. He's deeper. Is he going to make the corner? No, I think he's got too deep. Fantozzi with the switchback. Absolutely brilliant racing here. And Fantozzi manages to get that position back. Nordell almost running into the back of him. Manages just not to touch. Absolute great racing, and I think Fantozzi will now hold on to P10 with that switchback move going into turn 1. Absolutely brilliant. And Nordell going a bit wide there, coming out of that corner. On lap 3, we are now going into lap 4. We have Stoop right on the back of Martinovic, who's right on the back of Robson. The battle for the podium place, P3. And it looks like Stoop's going to go down the inside, slightly late on the brakes. And he's got the inside line, and that's a brilliant overtake. It looks fairly easy, but he pulls that off so smoothly into turn 1. And Stoop's now up into P4, and he'll be trying to close in on Robson. So further on here, lap 8. The battle for the lead. Stosic in P1. Stoop only 0.4 seconds back. Going into the hairpin. He's a bit far back here. Unless he gets a good exit here. And Stosic goes a bit deep. Stoop sees his opportunity. Side by side going into the Schumacher S. Can he hang around the outside? I think he's got the line. And he does. We have a change for the lead. Stoop now into P1. Martinovic having a little look on Stosic, but doesn't quite make it. But Stoop now in the lead. And Stosic hanging on to P2. And we're coming over to this fast left-hander before the final chicane. Here we are as we complete lap 8. We have a new leader, Stoop, Stosic in P2, and Martinovic in P3. The battle for the podium going on. Here we are on lap 12. A battle for P4 here. Murray catching up to Robson. Robson did so well to get high up. He was in P3 at one moment. He's dropped down to P4 and now P5 right on his tail. Can he hang on to P5? It looks like Murray has a lot more pace here coming into the chicane. It's not a great place for overtaking. Is he going to have a look? Oh, and he's touched, and the McLaren goes off and somehow has managed to keep it out the wall, but he's coming back on the track. Ooh, somehow he doesn't touch any of the other cars. Pretty lucky there, and his rejoin is pretty safe. We'll have to have a look. I think Murray just braked too late and ended up touching the rear of that McLaren, sending him off. Let's have a look here. Coming into the chicane, Murray has so much more speed, and I think he just brakes slightly too late. Yeah, and hits into the back of the McLaren, sending him off. Murray makes the corner, and then somehow, Robson comes back on track in between two cars and somehow doesn't hit anyone, which is pretty lucky. But a shame that the battle for P4 had to end that way. Cut to lap 14 as the sun's going down. Stosic still hanging on to P2 here. But Martinovic is not going anywhere. Martinovic hanging on to the back of that Mercedes. As we go into the chicane, Stosic goes a little deep, but pretty good exit. To the final corner. Martinovic needs to get a really good exit if he wants to have a look into turn 1. We can see Stoop a bit further ahead up the road. Is Martinovic going to have a look? I think he's a bit too far back to have a look. Into the braking zone, is later on the brakes, but not close enough. And he's going to have to wait another lap, I think, because there's not many overtaking opportunities on this track apart from turn 1 and the final turn. Now further on here, on board with Tapperia, lap 17, catching up to Esteban, coming through the Schumacher S's here. McLaren versus Ferrari. He's gaining so much time on him. Brilliant exit there. But again, coming into the chicane after this fast left-hander, not a really good place to overtake. But is he going to wait for either for the final corner or for turn 1? That's my guess. And Esteban goes deep though, so surely he has an opportunity here to go down the inside into the final corner. He goes for the move. Esteban stays out wide, almost gifting him the position. Surely that means Tapperia. Yeah, Tapperia holding on. Esteban going into his slipstream though, has a chance of getting him back into turn 1. Let's see how this plays out. Tapperia staying over, positions the car absolutely beautifully there. No chance Esteban was trying to get back past. He positions the car beautifully over to the right hand side. Here on lap 19, we have Murray closing in on Howe. I'm pretty sure he's learned from his mistake, braking too late into the chicane. He brakes on time, gets a good exit. Well, Howe gets a bit sideways here. Murray, is he going to see the opportunity here? No, he decides to back out and thinks turn 1's a better overtaking opportunity. Gets a great exit. That's exactly what he needed, because Ferrari versus Ferrari, they're pretty fast. Same speed on the straight, but if he gets a good exit, he's carrying more speed. He's on the outside though. Howe goes defensive. Murray later on the brakes. Is he going to hang around the outside? I think he has, and if he hasn't, then he's got it down the inside here. Yeah, absolutely brilliant, brilliant move by Murray. Hangs it around the outside of turn 1, the inside for turn 2, and that is Murray up into P12. Absolutely brilliant move. We're into lap 23, and Vinches has been working his way back up after the collision in turn 1, but Tapperia, as we saw a few laps ago get past Esteban, is now right on the back of Vinches. McLaren versus McLaren, pretty similar in pace then, but maybe that damage to Vinches' car slowing him down a bit. Tapperia, great exit coming out of the chicane here into the final corner. He needs a good exit here, and he hasn't got one, and Vinches has got an absolutely great exit, so I think Vinches has managed to put enough of a gap that Tapperia is too far back to make a move into turn 1. Great driving by Vinches there. And there's someone coming out the pits further up. I think it's Dorsius, who's just pitted, who has come out the pits just ahead of the two of them. That'll throw a spanner into the works. And there's now a car ahead of BGS and Taparia. Oh my god, look how close he gets. I think that's as close as you can get without touching. Or maybe not, he gets even closer here. Oh my word, literally pushing the McLaren along. How close do you want to get? Absolutely bumper to bumper. Surely Taparia can get a move done at the end of this lap if he stays that close. But they're both catching Dorsey, so that could have something to play. Taparia, look how close. Is he going to have a look into the chicane maybe? He has a little look, but no, not the easiest place to overtake. He might have to wait till turn 1 of this lap. Look how close they are to Dorsius though. This could have an effect on things. BGS goes a little deep in the SS. Taparia has a great run on him. Is he going to go for it? He does. He dives to the outside. Round the outside of this corner. Not easy. They touch slightly. And somehow they make it both through. And Taparia, yeah, it holds him off round the outside. Brilliant overtake. I don't know how they didn't spin with that little touch there. But great racing by these two. You know, a little touch is fine. Pretty fair to each other. But BGS has a great run here actually. And he's got it on the outside into the chicane. Not the easiest move to pull off. Can he do it? Round the outside. Oh, and he loses it. And across the gravel. And he has to wield that position. I said it's not an easy place to go around the outside of that chicane. Bold move of him to try it. And he manages not to spin the car, which is a good thing. Unfortunately, he has to wield the position to Taparia there. So now with 3 laps to go, I think. We're on lap 29. 2 laps to go, I think. We have a battle here for P7. And it's a 4-way battle. So a lot of difference in points between 7th place and 10th place. So these guys are really battling it out. We have Cheng in P7 in the 111 McLaren, Babin in P8 in the 699 Porsche, Nordell in the 777 Mercedes, and Murray in the number 38 Ferrari. And Cheng looks like he's pulled out a bit of a gap, but Murray right on the back of Nordell here, going into the chicane. Not an overtaking place as we've seen in this race, but the final corner is. Can Murray get a good line here? Nordell really late on the brakes, make sure Murray can't make a move there. But look how close Murray is, bumper to bumper, coming out of that final corner. Is he going to go for a move into turn 1? He has a little look, goes back inside. Nordell goes defensive to make sure he doesn't. Great positioning of the car by Nordell to make sure Murray can't do it. He's going to try and go around the outside, but absolutely great defensive driving by Nordell to block that overtake opportunity. And they've all bunched up a bit again here. One mistake and someone could lose a lot of position, but Nordell goes wide there. And this could be an opportunity for Murray, even though this next corner's not an easy overtaking spot. And Nordell manages to hold on to it, luckily. And that's opened a bit of a gap to Nordell and Babin. And here they go into the chicane. Is Babin going to have a look? Not the chicane, the hairpin. No, Cheng positions his car really well on the hairpin. Nordell goes deep, which means Murray I have a run on him, and Babin actually has a really good run on Cheng here into the Schumacher S. And Cheng positions the car well, Babin does as well. Ooh, scraping the gravel there. Look at that, Murray right on the back of Nordell as well. Has a little look, but there's no gap for him to go for. Nordell getting a bit sideways there, losing a bit of grip. Is Murray going to have a good exit here? But again, the chicane, not really a overtaking opportunity. But he can line him up for the final corner. And Murray gets an absolutely amazing exit here. And exactly like I said, he's going to line up on the final corner. Is there a gap? Nordell goes deep. Murray, can he find a gap down the inside? Yes, he does. This is onto the final lap of the race. Murray and Nordell side by side, they touch, and Murray keeps it out the wall, and Nordell spins. Oh, unbelievable. On the final lap of the race, Nordell has spun the car. Oh my word, and not only that, he's actually lost a position to Taparia, which knocks him out of the overall points. He was in 10th, he'll now be in 11th. What on earth happened there? Absolute tragedy for Nordell. We'll have to have a look to see what actually happened there. I'm not sure, but that is devastating on the final lap. Let's have a look. Going into the chicane here, Nordell, I think, yeah, he misses the apex, goes a bit deep. Murray, absolute brilliant exit. And then Nordell tries to go late on the brakes to keep him behind, which means he goes deep. Murray sees the gap down the inside. And then I think Nordell just didn't know he was there or something and comes across and hits Murray. Luckily, Murray keeps it out the wall. And unfortunately, Nordell is sent spinning into the barriers and loses a position to Taparia as well as Murray. I mean, I think it was a bit his fault, the collision, but a sad way to finish that battle. It was absolutely brilliant. And here come Stoop for the final time round the chicane. He's 6.4 seconds ahead of P2, cruising to the finish line round the final corner. Onto the main straight, blinkers flashing, and our race 1 winner at Nurburgring is Max Stoop. Absolutely brilliant drive. And coming home in P2, Martinovic. So long he was behind Stosic, but that pit stop strategy really worked for him, and he managed to come home in P2. And coming home in P3, after starting second on the grid, going to the back of the grid, Sauna manages to climb his way all the way back to P3. Absolutely brilliant driving by him to get that podium and to keep that final podium spot. Meanwhile, a bit further back here, a battle for P25, going down to the final lap. I think Counts is just ahead enough, far enough ahead to keep the Ferrari at bay. And he is, and across the line he comes, manages to hold on to that position on the final lap. But talking about final lap positions, let's go back to see what happened between Babin and Cheng that were pretty much bumper to bumper for the last 3 laps. Did Babin manage to get past? Let's have a look. So through the S's, they both take it pretty well. No mistake there. Babin just really hassling at the back of that McLaren. And Cheng goes a bit deep. It was this Babin's opportunity to have a look. He sees Cheng, positions his car well to cover the inside of the next corner. And look how close they are. Babin just can't find a way through. Murray not far behind, probably hoping there's some sort of contact between the two so you can snatch 2 positions. Into the chicane we're going to come here. Not a great overtaking place, but Babin has to line it up perfectly for the final corner. It's his last opportunity to overtake, and he does exactly that. Gets a brilliant exit from the chicane, but Cheng goes defensive. Babin has to go around the outside, which isn't great. However, he gets on the power earlier, tries to switch back. Coming up, there's a short run to the line. I don't think there's enough in it. And there isn't. But what a battle that is. Only 0.09 between the two of them as they cross the line. Absolutely brilliant battle all the way to the end, and important points for both of them there. Talking about important points, we have a battle here in the silver class, and oh, Esteban's gone deep here on the final lap, and Tan, I think, has managed to snatch this position. Is he going to hang around the outside? He does, and he actually snatches P20 there from Esteban, which is only P20 overall, but is probably within the points in the silver class, which could be very important points for the overall standing in the for the silver standings. And I think Tan's now going to hold on to it unless he makes a mistake coming through the chicane, and he doesn't. And that, a bit of a disaster by Esteban. He lost so many places right with a few laps to go, and then he loses one more on the final lap and drops down the order after what was a pretty good race from him.